Hi, and welcome to another episode of the 8-Bit Retro Refix. And on this week's episode, we're going to be repairing two Commodore 16 motherboards that Michael sent in to me. These two boards have both got black screens, so we're going to take a look at them and see what we can do with these boards. He's also sent me in quite a few chips as well. There's a lot of Commodore 16 ones on there, but there's some Commodore 64 chips as well on this board. So we're going to take a look at these shortly. Just before I go off and do that, I'd like to tell you about a new Facebook group that I've created. If you'd like to join that group and get some input or some advice about things, please do. You'll find the Facebook group link in the description of this video. So, I suppose better get to these Commodore 16 boards. So let's get to it. Right, so this is the first board. What I've done is I've just lifted the PLA. You might notice that that's just lifted out a little bit there. The reason why I've lifted that out is I'll show you. I'm going to show you what screen it does when you take the PLA away. So all I've done with this board is I've bought a new TED, and I've put a new TED in because the TED was missing from the board when it came. And then I've gone through Michael's chips on here to see what I can come up with. And what I found on this board is that the PLA was dead. These two ROM chips here, they are so loose, you can just sort of put your finger under it and lift the chip. So them sockets are very, very, very weak. So what I'm going to do is replace them two sockets, put that PLA chip back in, and this board should be good to go. So what I'm going to do is just pull that PLA for the minute and show you exactly what I was getting from the screen. So that'll pretty much it. That's all I'm getting from the screen. On this one, I was getting exactly the same on the other board as well. So you can see that's got a black screen, even if we do reset. It's going to have a black screen. There's no PLA. So I'm just going to drop that PLA chip back in there now. It's a bit weak in that socket, but we'll flip the screen, and as you can see, it's back on. And it's up and it's running. So that's great, that's one of them. Done, finished, out of the way. It was a simple fix, simple PLA and a TED chip, and we're going to have to replace them two sockets anyway because they're very, very weak. Okay, so I'm going to have a look at the second board now. The second board did exactly the same thing. I've burnt a Diagnosing, which I'll show you a picture of that, and then we're going to see what happens with the Diagnosing. So I'm just going to change those two boards now. So that's the other board, and as you can see, I've changed the Diagnosing out for the kernel, and we're just going to see what's going on with this one now. I've gone through these chips again. This board came again without another TED, so that's two TEDs. Gone through all the chips, swapped all the chips over into my working C60 16, and all the chips seem good. But again, this is the Diag one. So what we're getting on the screen is, and I'll pop a picture up for you. It just filled, every now and again, it just filled the whole screen with ats. Now if you look at this Diag picture that I'm going to pop up now, it shows you that if it's full of ats, then it's usually one of the multiplexer chips, which is down here. So I've pulled them multiplex chips out there, put sockets in, replaced them, and it didn't make a difference. So what it was saying on the Diag form is, it was saying the multiplexer chips will hold one of the pins high on the RAM, and of course if the RAM's faulty, that can do it the other way as well. So I've replaced them multiplexer chips, and we're still getting the same thing, and I'll show you exactly what that's doing now. So you can see there, if you see the white flashes on the screen, so we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's what we've got. We've got 3 flashes off this board, which usually points to U5, which is one of the RAM chips. So I'm going to change that RAM chip out on this board now, and then we'll come back and have a look at this and see how we're getting on with it. So here we go, let's change this RAM chip. So I've got these new RAM chips. So I'm just going to put that out and pop that into that socket, and then we'll go back and we'll test the system and see if it starts up this time. If not, we're going to change the other RAM chip. So the RAM chip, let's just check, make sure they're the right way around. Yep, there's notches over this side. That's in. So that's his RAM chip in. Let's see if this diag will go past this one now and see what happens. We may need to change this one as well. I'm hoping not, but we'll just have to see what happens there. Okay, I've plugged that in now, and you can see we're now flashing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as you can see, that's the one that's working now. This is the one that had a couple of iffy sockets in there. The sockets have changed, and it's good. Yeah, this is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Well, that's how good I am at Commando on this Commodore 16. The other board, well, I'll tell you about that in a minute. So that's one of the Commodore 16s, fixed, up and running. Found a broken trace on one of the PLA tracks. It must have been weak before. That socket's been changed before, after having removed the socket, and I removed the socket really well. I actually cut the socket off and cut the pins out of the way, and then desoldered them out of the way because I didn't want to upset the board. So I have found a broken trace there on the back of it, which that's now been repaired. We've got a full set of new sockets in this one now. So we've got your PLA socketed, new socket. You've got the kernel that's got a new socket. You've got the basic ROM that's got the new socket. And as you can see on that picture there, with the Commando running, Commando on the Commodore 64, just for a bit of music on the backdrop. But yeah, the other one is still flashing 3, still telling me that it's a RAM issue. It's got both the multiplexer chips changed in there now. It's got both the memory chips changed in there. It's had another TED. I've checked out all the other chips and they're all good. It just leaves a few logic around that top side, which I'm going to have a look at another day. So that's it for today. Please like and subscribe. If you're enjoying the videos, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.